Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey everyone, welcome to Big Fat Real Estate Checks. I hope you're ready for this. I am, of course, Marco Kozlowski, your almost fearless leader, and I am more than honored, thrilled, and really, I can't even say the word that I want to say, that we have the myth, the man, and the legend, Les Brown with us today. Les really doesn't need an introduction at all. I don't know if I want to call him Mr. Brown, Les, LB, LBB. I don't know. We'll see where this relationship takes us. And yeah, as you know, the first step in any journey is to acquire as many skills as possible. In fact, if you Google, how do I really become wealthy? Invest in yourself. And that is the most important skill set and the most impactful series of words that you can actually really come across. And if you take those seriously and do whatever it takes to build your skill set internally, you really become invincible and can accomplish pretty much anything that you set your mind to within reason, right? You're not going to look like Chris Helmsworth in 3 days. Just calm down. All right. So, Les, I cannot thank you enough for investing some time here. We've never really had a conversation before, and I'm going to be like a little girl right now and just, I'm not going to throw my underwear at you, but I'm definitely very excited to talk to you. So you've made a huge impact in my life, and I just want to thank you for being here. I really do.
And thank you for being the person that you are. The P in your name stands for passion. There's something that you decide to do, and you pour yourself all in it tremendously. And so when I think about Marco, it's about the passion to master whatever you do. To you, you're the kind of person that it's not about being halfway. If you're going to do it, you're going to be all in. Remember, A.O. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough, but make sure you do all you can do. And that's why I applaud you, my brother.
Well, I really appreciate that. There was when Kobe Bryant was alive, he would go to practice, and a reporter was there. I don't know if you heard this story, but he did an hour of basic footwork for an hour before he did his actual workout. And the guy that was doing the interview said, Kobe, you're one of the best players in the world. Why are you doing basic footwork before, this stuff you did in high school? You're the number one player in the world. And he said, that's why I'm the number one player in the world. Basics.
I had
the basics.
Heard that. I like
right?
that.
The basics are the basics. And if you just master the basics, everything grows from there. So I appreciate that. And yes, I'm only good at 7 things. Counting isn't one of them, right? But if you're good at something, you want to go all in, and you don't have to do a lot of things well, just one thing well. Actually, another story. I don't know if you heard this story. The one-armed judo kid, did you hear about this story? Really, really, really great. I did judo when I was a kid. It really resonated with me. And a farmer had a son that lost an arm in an accident. And the son was devastated, obviously, didn't want to do anything, quite depressed. And the son was enticed by his father to go take judo classes. Just try it, have some fun. He's like, I got one arm. What am I going to do? And he says, well, just give it a shot, and we'll see if the sensei that I really respect, I've known him for, my whole life, if he'll take you as a pupil. Sensei looks at him and says, he's perfect. And the sensei trains him for one move. One move. Every day, practice that one move. And after a year, the sensei looks at him and says, I think you're ready to compete. And the kid's like, what? I got one arm. Like, I got one move. How am I going to compete against everyone else? He says, just believe. Just do one match, and we'll see what happens. He does the one match, and he wins very quickly with his one move. The kid's stunned. How the heck did I do that? Next match, wins with one move. Third match, final match, wins, becomes the champion. Dad goes over to the sensei and says, he has one move. How is it possible that he achieved such high heights with being disabled? And the sensei looks at him and says, the only way to counter that move is by holding the other arm. the arm that he
Whoa.
doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So you turn the disability into an ability, right? Everyone has excuses as to
Yes.
why they can't do things. And when I heard that story, it really resonated as well. I love stories. As a
Mhm.
storyteller yourself, right? People do
Yes.
remember stories better than anything else. And the story that we're telling ourselves is really what our biggest poison is usually. Not good enough, don't have enough. I need one more thing, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, next day, tomorrow, whatever. So I'll shut up now. This is your time.
Well, first of all, what many people miss out on when they start talking about how people function. The most extensive study done on self-esteem was by Dr. Martin Seligman, and he wrote the book, as you're familiar with, Learned Optimism. And he talked about the fact that between the ages of 0 and 7 is my lucky number, that the things that we hear, the environment that we're in, the people that we're around, they influence us in the choices that we make in life. And unless there's an interruption, unless there's a Marco that will come in, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And so what you do in helping people to begin to visualize them getting a big fat check in real estate when other people are concerned about artificial intelligence and the economy, what you do is distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract people from their current story and excuses they give themselves for not going all in. You dismantle their current belief system and you inspire them, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. And that's why this work that you're doing is so very important, because when people are being presented with an idea or concept or purchasing real estate or whatever it might be, they're asking three questions. Number one, who are you? Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so your ability to share that succinctly. Number two, what do you have? What are the skill set that you have? What level of competence that you have that will be of value to me? And three, can I trust you? And trust is not something that's given. Trust is something that is earned. And so the experience that people are creating as a result of going through your training and listening to you on a regular basis allow them to go beyond just giving information. If information could persuade people, everybody would be the number one seller on the planet. But the experience that you create from you, who you are behind the words that you speak, are far more important than the words that you're putting out on the planet. And so that integrity, that energy, that part of yourself that make people feel comfortable, and they say, you know what? I believe Marco. And it's very important in life that you have someone that believes in you until your belief kicks in. And that's what you convey with the work that you're doing and the curriculum that you have created, because you're saying to people, don't speak to sell, speak to develop a relationship.
It is
That's
about the
very
relationship.
important.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
relationships matter.
And it's actually, I believe that relationships, other than time, are the most important currency. Because it's not who you know, it's who knows you at the end of the day. You know,
No, it's who you
isn't
know.
it?
No, no, here's the go. I
Uh,
heard it. I heard what
yeah,
you just said.
it's not what you know or who you know, it's who knows you, right? Is it no? Am I
No,
wrong? I'm
it's
okay with
who,
being wrong,
yeah,
please.
no, it's okay. You're not wrong. I'm just adding something to
Yeah,
it. It's not,
I
people say
love it.
it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I say, no, it's who you know and what they know about you.
You're absolutely right.
Because
Yes,
yeah, you could know the right people, but if they see you as a chump, they're not going
it
to take
doesn't
your
matter.
phone
You're
call.
absolutely right.
No, absolutely. And what people know about Marco is that your goal is to bring out the best in them. It goes beyond just getting a big fat real estate check, but how can you develop yourself? You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. How do you begin to develop yourself so that you have a reputation that people will refer you and recommend you because of the experience they had with you and making a major decision about something in their lives?
I amen to that. And from a listener perspective, if I'm in the dumps and I'm living out of my car, I got 4 kids. I'm showering at the Y. I'm going to the library to use the internet. I don't have anything, just lost it all, just made some bad decisions. And here I am. Now, what I help people with is having access to money that doesn't require credit or a down payment. If they buy it at the right price, they can't buy it at the right price unless they communicate in a way where it's effective enough for people to trust. And that's really what I focus on the most, is how to communicate, how to speak like you actually have the ability to close in order for them to trust you, to discount, to unlock the money that's necessary in order to do the next step, right? Because they don't trust you, they're not going to do anything. So I have this inner belief as a listener. And again, I don't know as a listener where you are, what you've done, what's going on, having a bad day, great day, whatever that is. But do you have a tool or an insight or something, a mantra, something, a nugget that the listener can take away and just say, well, this is what Les says? Because there's Les, and there's like, that's 100, and then there's Marco, which is like 1, in my opinion, right? You're phenomenal, right? And you've been at this, and I'm a student.
Yeah,
I'm
Marco,
a mere student.
how old are you?
I'm 51.
Okay, I was doing this before you were born. I've been doing this for 53 years.
And you've been improving for 53 years. Every year got better and better. Every year,
Socrates
better and better.
says a man's reach is to supersede his grasp, or what are the heavens for? But let me share something with you. I did a training. I now train speakers. One of my mentees, Dr. Miles Monroe, said, Mr. Brown, there's no success without successors. And one of the students in the class said, there's something I got to tell you. And I said, what? You remember when you were at the Penobscot building? And I said, yes. He said, I was in the car listening to a cassette tape by you. And I picked up my grandmother, and she said, don't listen to him. And he asked, why not? And she said, he has an office in the Penobscot building. He sleeps on the floor. He bathes in the sink down the hall. And when the janitorial staff come in, he hides in the closet with the 2 people that's working with him. Don't listen to him. And he said, I'm glad that I didn't take my grandmother's advice. Because she saw a guy who was down on his luck at that point in time, that was growing, that was developing, bathing in the sink down the hall. But the reason that he decided to listen to me, he didn't see what she saw. There's a reason we're taught, judge not according to appearances. And so as we look at where we are, particularly now, as we talked about earlier, the distraction economy, you have to ask yourself the question, given what's going on, who is it I have to be? What radical change must take place in me so that I'm able to deliver the kind of experience with customers that they look at me and said, that's the one. This is the person that I would trust with making a major decision in my life for my family. That's the person that I want. And that level of confidence it comes out of the level of competence that you are training people that hold them out to a higher level. Henry David Thoreau said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. So the training that you provide help people to elevate themselves and improve their skills, their presentation, and their knowledge by growing continuously so that they can create a better commercial, a better experience for their customers. I remember a lady who became a dominant force in her industry, and they asked her, how did you get here? And she said, it's not our intention to please our customers or to satisfy our customers. Our intention is to amaze them. And the training that you provide for the people that under your leadership and that listen to you, they're able to create an incredible experience that people are amazed with their knowledge, with their caring, and they're being focused on building a relationship because people can smell commission breath.
I can't thank you enough for those words. And the thing that I I would love to have as you would in anything that we do, a success rate that's 100%, right? We want everyone to succeed. It's as a mentor, as someone that invests quite a lot of energy into serving my community. I'm very active with my tribe. I want everyone to be served at the highest level so they can get wealthy. Because my belief, it's everyone's God-given right to be wealthy through the service of others. Doing it well, having a mechanism to do that without, hurting yourself. Because if you don't want to drown with a drowning person by not knowing how to swim. So as a mentor, for me, advice, I'm going to ask you, what can I possibly communicate to my tribe's members or a human being that's listening now that's just always procrastinating and I don't know if it's possible to fix everybody, because it's usually those that complain the loudest, right? Those that have the smallest minds usually have the biggest mouths, right? It's inversely proportional. I don't know how to always inspire those human beings to just do something. And it's just 20 minutes to
Marco,
help me
Marco,
with my
first
dilemma.
of all, well, it is not a dilemma. There's a reason that we're taught the road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it. Why? Few there be that are willing to discipline themselves. Socrates said, the undisciplined life is an insane life. The majority of people won't participate in their own rescue. Remember that movie where the guy said, help me to help you? That most people are lazy, that they don't want it like you want it. They're not willing to sacrifice. They're not willing to put in the work. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. They're not willing to make the commitment and do the work that you're willing to do. You came to yourself. You went through a journey, and you decided this is not going to break me. This is going to make me. It introduced you to a part of yourself that you would have not known had you not gone through what you went through, and you came to yourself like the prodigal son. And so what we can best do is, one, be the example and let people know that you are an example, not an exception. And ultimately, they have to make the decision, just like Mako made a decision saying, this is not me. Simba, you're more than that which you have become. That's what happened when you had that breakthrough. When someone said, hey, you ought to wear some red socks. That stayed with you. That was an interruption. And so when you think about people, the majority of people, they are not going to make it. Why? They don't want to. They don't want it bad enough. Remember, I say, you got to be hungry. And when I think about me, born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, being a foster kid with my twin brother, and ultimately I was labeled educable mentally retarded in the 5th grade and put back to the 4th grade and failed again in high school, and I have no college training. But I had this high school teacher who had a personality just like yours, Marco. And he challenged me one day before the class. I was looking for a friend, and he said, I want you to go to board and work this problem out for me. I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm just here looking for my friend Mac Arthur Stevens. He said, do what I'm asking you to do anyhow. And I said, sir, I can't do it. And the kid started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley's smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And he looked at me, and I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he pointed at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Do you hear me? And I said, yes, sir. Now, Mama said, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Words do hurt, and very deeply. But when he spoke, and there are people listening to me right now, that when you speak Mako, you give them a larger vision of themselves beyond their mental conditioning, and you ignite something in them. There's an old saying about you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. But if you have someone working with them, that they're exposed to their level of consciousness and communication, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. You are doing the work, but we will not have 100%. We will not reach everybody. No. There's certain people that will hear your voice, and there are some people that won't. especially people who you know and people that are in your family. I've got 6 brothers and sisters, and they don't come to any of my motivational events, and they don't listen to me. Why? Because they know me. Familiarity breeds contempt.
This is true. This is very true. And are you still connected with your brother Wesley? Do you ever know?
Absolutely. We live together. My brother,
okay.
he's my hero. He served 2 tours in Vietnam and the Persian Gulf. He has a Purple Heart. His wife of 50 years and 6 months. She passed around 6 months ago. And so we're
Sorry to hear that.
together. With, I told him, I said, look, I came here looking for you. You came out first, and after 5 minutes, I heard something, and they slap you on the butt, and I came out and say, what's going on? And then
That's
they pulled
funny.
me out.
That's hilarious. That's
Yes,
cool.
we're together, and it's been an incredible experience. I said, we're going to finish life together.
What a great journey. That's so good. Was there a defining moment for you? Mine was when, I've struggled. I had 4 kids at 24. I got married at 18, and I'm concert pianist. That's my background. And I was fed up of being fed up, and I started a journey of how to improve myself so I could earn more money for my family. For those that don't know you, what was your defining moment? Because I'll share mine after, because that was my second one with the Red Sox, but I had one that was different, but also impactful, that when I was 26, 27, that really changed my life. So I'm sure you have.
Without any question. One of the most traumatic experiences, I went to work with my mother. As I mentioned, I'm adopted. And I just found out two years ago, if you go online to people listening, say Les Brown's 2021 surprise, they'll see a picture of me and my birth mother. Never thought I would ever see a picture of her. And it
Wow.
tells the story. But my mother, Mrs. Mamie Brown, I always say that God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. She took me to work with her one day. And Miss Harris said, Mamie, I want you to go down the hall, and I want you to find that hat that I like to wear when it's sunny outside. This is on Miami Beach. And when Mama went down the hall, Marco, I heard her clap. And I was curious, but I was cleaning the kitchen floor, and I said, Mama. And she said, what is it, Leslie? Why are you clapping your hands? She said, don't you worry about it. You just continue to clean the floor. And then she came out and she said, Miss Harris, it's not in there. So Miss Harris said, well, go down and look at the room on the other side. And Mama went down, and once again, she was clapping her hands. And I was curious. I said, Mama, and she was irritated. What is it, Leslie? Why are you clapping your hands? She said, just do what you're doing. Don't worry about it. And at that moment, Miss Harris came over to me and she said, I can tell you why she's clapping her hands. And I asked her why. She said, because when I have people working for me and I have them looking for something and I can't see them, I make them clap their hands to make sure they're not stealing. I dropped the washcloth and the soap. At this time, Black people were not allowed to look white people in the eyes. I stood up and I looked her in the eyes. I said, my mother is not a thief. She loves you and she loves your children. She would not steal from anybody. And she was shocked. And she just turned and walked away. And I went back down on that floor, and tears was mixed with the soap and the water. And when we went back across the Venetian Causeway on Miami Beach, I was looking out of the window, and Mama said, Leslie, and I said, yes, ma'am. Why aren't you talking now? And she looked at me and I was crying. She said, why are you crying? I said, because I want to be a man. I want to be a man. She said, you'll be a man soon enough when you turn 18. I said, I want to be a man now, because if I was a man now, I have a job. I could take care of you. You won't have to clean people's homes. I will buy a home for you. If I was a man now, you won't have to cook for somebody. We have to wait and then see what's left over, and we pack up the leftovers to go home and eat. And if I was a man now, no one will ever make you clap your hands because they think that you are stealing. And she said, Miss Harris told you that, didn't she? I said, yes, ma'am. And that's why I want to be a man now, Mom. That's why. And my mother raised us, a man provides and protects. And that when I turned 18, I said, Mama, you don't have to work anymore. I set her down and I took care of my mother until she passed at 89. That was a turning point.
That is, it happened for you. And that's amazing.
Yes. That's interesting you should say that. I often say that life is lived going forward, but we learn from it looking back, because that ignited something in me that Mama, she adopted 7 kids, but only one. There's Ed Milet. He has a book called The One. I was the only one that was my magnificent obsession. Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a home. Mama, what is it, Leslie? When you get old, you're not going to go to a nursing home. I will take care of you. And so that you have to have something in your life. It was Dr. Howard Thurman. He said, don't ask what is the meaning of life. Ask what is the meaning of your life. And this area where you are and people that you are training and helping them to develop themselves, self-awareness is major, and being able to master themselves and then upgrade their skills so that they can provide for themselves, for their family, and live a life that will outlive them, to live a life of impact.
Absolutely. To leave a legacy is and live one at the same time.
Yes,
and not necessarily believe in the lie of, you have to have all these degrees or all this level of schooling or connections in order to do something. Well, you can either earn them or you can write a check and get them. If I want to learn how to speak, I can do it by trial and error, or I can follow you and learn from the best possible people and acquire very specialized knowledge that I would never be able to get. It's actually thousands of years of knowledge, because when you train someone and they make a mistake that you would have never made, you learn from that as well. So you become a very wise leader by really observing and paying attention and listening to what's happening within your tribe. And I really look up to people that don't do the same thing for 25, 30, 40 years. I've been doing this for 30 years, but the same year for 30 years doesn't impact me, because as things change and people change and the economy shifts and things that worked 5 years ago don't work today, you have to constantly shift and listen.
Peter Drucker said, this is the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition.
Yes.
And so what you're doing is providing training, cutting edge training that allow the people that under your leadership, allow them to discover parts of themselves that they don't know right now, because you push them and you stretch them and you hold them accountable to a higher standard. And that's very important in today's marketplace. Yes.
Absolutely. And I heard this quote, and it stood by me for a very long time. You should be wealthy for not the money that it brings, but for who you become.
Yes, absolutely. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are.
Exactly. Very absolutely. My and I hate to even share this story now, because yours has much more impact than mine. My kids were playing on the floor with I had 4 kids by the time I was 24. So my Oliver, the oldest, I'm a granddad now, he just had a baby. Elliot, second, they were playing Legos on the floor. Mercedes was being fed by my wife, and the butt in the oven was Bentley. She was pregnant. around February, March. I'm Canadian. This was near Montreal. The doorbell rang, and at that time in my life, I was a stay-at-home dad. I didn't work. I was a pianist. I made $7,000 a year Canadian, which is like $2 American. And I stayed at home, and my wife did all the work, and I was delighted. I loved being a dad. It was like, I get to play with my kids all day long. Fantastic. It's great. And if I wanted $5 and she said no, it was okay because she handled the money. So I was not trained on how to handle money or understand money at all. In fact, I was terrified of money because money was a bad thing growing up, bad relationship with money. So the doorbell rang. My wife was exhausted from a long day. She wanted to be with the kids. She says, "Can you just go tell the landlord that we don't have the money? We're going to be 5 days, like 6 days late. We're waiting for some money to come in." And I was like, what do I have to do? I don't know. Like, I was terrified to tell this guy to go away. She's like, "Okay, tell me the exact words. What are the words I need to say? Just tell him that he has to wait 5 days. Don't worry about it. Just go. It's no big deal. Just ask him." It was like asking me to kill someone. It was like, what the heck? So I'm trying to memorize my lines. I open the door as he's like, ding, 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 ding. I look at him, and the guy's maybe 5'2", very small guy. And I'm 6'3", like I'm way bigger. And I'm looking at him. He's looking at me, looking at me, looking at him, looking at me, looking at him. He's like, "Where's my money?" I'm like, and I completely blanked out. And I said, "My wife has something to tell you." He pushes through me. That's the kind of person I was. He pushes through me. Snow on his boots and dirt. He's going through the whole house looking for my wife. And he starts yelling at her that she's a piece of crap for not being able to pay on time, because apparently we're always late. I didn't know because I didn't handle the money. Just yelling at her, invited himself into our home. And all I could do was stare at the whole situation and say nothing.
Mm.
And she looked at me like I was worthless. And I felt it. I felt it that this was wrong. And I knew at that point, that was for me the point where I need to improve, or this is what's going to happen for the rest of my life. How can I possibly call myself a man? Just like you said, I want to be a man. I want to take care of because my dad and my mom met when like he was 16, she was 14. Apparently it was legal back then. So, and he's always been there for my mom and taking care of her. And she wanted something. They had conversations. I had a great role model as far as that goes. And that wasn't this. And I'm like, I am not a man. I'm not a provider. I'm not even an advisor. I'm just there, and I'm playful. I need to be more. So that's when I picked up every book I could, self-development book. Tony Robbins, read it all, read a lot of, as much as I could digest Your Stuff less. Anything I could get on anything, I started digesting so I could improve, which actually fractured our marriage because then I changed as a human being. She wanted someone that was not as strong, right? And at one point we got divorced, but we're still very good friends. She just stayed at my house for a month because she was getting some tests on medical. She lives in Los Angeles, and she's here, not now, but for a month, no problem. Come stay at the house. We're very good friends. We've never had a problem. Our divorce cost $600. So it's just, I had to go on that journey. I think everyone has a pivotal moment where but again, you made the decision, right, to change.
Right. And that's what you did too. That when I was down on my luck, a friend of mine came to my house, and he said to me, I was depressed. I'd been fired. I was in radio at the time. He said, "Les Brown," he said, "things aren't going to get better for you until you get better. Things are not going to change in your life until you change." That's all I got to say. And he turned and walked out. And that left me to deal with that. And I pondered that, and I took it to heart. I was not offended, but he spoke it in a way that interrupted my anger. Helen Keller says, when one door closes, another door opens. But most of us spend so much time looking at the closed door, we don't see the open doors that's available to us. And he interrupted my anger. Anger is a wind that blows out the lamp of the mind, and caused me to start thinking about myself, and that whatever I have in my life, I created it, and I could change it. Yeah. I've got to get this other call. I love talking.
I know.
Yeah.
You got to go. And
Yes.
Before we even
just feel a
started, I
connection
said,
with
if you just have to disappear in the middle of the night, that's fine. I know we got to go. And all I can say is, I really appreciate you. And, ass out, I love you hug. I don't want to get too close. I don't want to make it weird.
You got to put a ring on it.
My second divorce was too traumatic.
Okay.
I'd say you'd hurt my feeling because she took all of them. I don't have any left. So,
I love it.
I appreciate you so very much for investing some time between things. Listen, we all have very limited amount of time, and investing 1 minute with us, I appreciate it so very much. You're the best. I look forward to interacting with you as much as possible and serving you and your community as much as possible, whatever I can do. If I can add any value to you and your tribe in any way, I'm delighted to do it. And we're all here to serve. So
yes, and I'm here to serve you as well.
Well, I give to give, Les. I give to give. Yeah. I don't expect anything in return other than just I want to be a servant of yours any way that I can. And I'm not expecting any reciprocity other than I appreciate you very much. And if you're listening to this right now, appreciate you as a listener. Like us, love us, share us, do whatever you got to do. And remember, change starts with you. If you want change, you have to be that change. You are how you act, and just improve as much as you can. I'm stuttering right now because I'm like so excited. Do what you got to do to get to what you want to get. And remember what matters. It's not money. It's people, your family. And if you're willing, most people are willing to die for their kids. Are you willing to live for your kids? And we'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, Les. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, man, this was fantastic.
Yeah.
I love this. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Care.
Have a good one. Doodles. Bye-bye.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for a life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.